Grand Rising, Joseph Hennessy. Name of the channel is The Children. On YouTube, it's Joseph Hennessy 1161. But the name of the channel is The Children because I'm on a mission for the kids to fix Mother Gaia, which fixes it for us. So I'm looking for star seeds, light workers, empaths, rainbow warriors, extraterrestrials, anybody who has a heart and a soul, who is just tired of the movie that's coming to an end really soon. So I haven't made a video in 4 or 5 days because I was doing a little Joe Hennessy experiment. Well, I wanted to fast to see if I could not eat for 3 days and just drink water. I made it one day. Not eating is not an easy thing not to do when you're hungry. So that was a failure. So I'm going to try it again this week. But the other part of that experiment I tried was I was going to be homeless and hungry for 3 days. And I slept in my car for 3 days because I wanted to see what it'd be like not to have a home and see how miserable it is to have to sleep in a car, because that's the only option that you have. I was going to ask my phone how many kids in the United States are homeless and sleep in cars every night. So I just wanted to see what it was like for them. It wasn't that bad. I could get used to it if I had to do it, but it shouldn't even be happening. So I speak about the homeless kids because what's happening down in Southern California is an abomination. The deep state is on their last legs. They're trying to start a civil war in California because that's the best place to start it. I'm sure there's 2-3 million illegal aliens in California as I speak. They shouldn't be here. So Donald Trump sends the military down there to get things back in order. And Gavin Newsom, who is the worst governor in the history of the United States, is suing Trump for what? This is the same guy who spent $2 billion on the homeless problem, and it's worse than it's ever been. The high-speed rail, there's like 1/8 of a mile built of it in the middle of California. Billions of dollars spent. California had a surplus a few years ago of $24 billion. It's all gone. Yet he's worth $120 million. And all he does is want to sue Trump instead of doing his job. Nothing rebuilt in Paradise, Southern California, because it's the bureaucracy of California. They can't get permits to rebuild their homes. But he started a podcast, though, because he wants to be out there for the people. He doesn't give a shit about anybody. George Soros is back at it again. If you're going to start a civil war, you're going to start it in where? California, the most liberal state in the Union. And I don't believe that there's any illegal aliens out there throwing rocks at the cops and bricks. They're all paid by George Soros. Yet again, I've seen the advertisements that they're saying they'll pay these idiots $6,500 to $12,000 a week to riot. Just like Black Lives Matter, it was the same thing during George Floyd. This is all it is. It's 2020 all over again. Endless riots for no reason, destroying property. They don't talk about the 572 riots that happened after George Floyd he wasn't murdered. The guy had so much fentanyl in his system, he was high as a kite. If you see the video of that, what actually happened, he had plenty of opportunity just to cooperate. None of that would have happened. It was all just a sideshow, a shit show to divide us. Same thing they're doing now. Same playbook as 2020. Let's get everybody angry, hurt their feelings, and they're out protesting. I've even heard that there's brainwashing even being done through frequencies. People don't understand. They have plenty of energy weapons that they can use against humanity to manipulate the way you think, the way you act, what you do. What kind of person with any kind of sense is throwing bricks at police officers and military? Common sense. Why would anybody do that? Those guys are just doing their job. The illegal aliens shouldn't be here. And on top of that, they're not even deporting that many as I speak. If they were to get up to 3,000 deportees a day, times 365, it would be 1,095,000 a year. So they let in 15 to 20 million illegal aliens. It would take them 20 years to get rid of them. But what they're targeting is all the murderers, all the gang members, all the rapists, all the drug dealers. People don't understand. Foreign countries opened up their prisons and told them if they left the country and went to the United States, all good. Well, guess what? Guess where they are? So Tom Holman and ICE is trying to round up the worst of the worst. Like I said, it would take them 20 years to deport everybody. That's not going to happen. They're just trying to get rid of the people who are raping, murdering, stealing, cheating. All they're trying to do is divide us. None of this nonsense happened during Joe Biden's administration because they were all good with the open borders, sending money all over the world for wars, left $85 billion worth of military equipment in Afghanistan, in Syria. They control the oil fields instead of letting the Syrians have their oil. I'm starting to get off base a little bit, but I could go on and on about the government. But back to Gavin Newsom. Does nothing. He lives in a $9 million house in Marin County. He's worth $120 million. He's the nephew of Nancy Pelosi. By the way, her father was a gangster, mobster, so she knows all about RICO crimes and doing all the dirty shit that she does, insider trader. She's better than Warren Buffett at doing stocks. So she must pass on the information to Slick Willie, her nephew. The government hates us. They're trying to destroy America. Look what's happened to it in the last 50 years. Since I was a kid until now. It's deplorable, immoral. All they do is get us to hate each other one way or another. It's about the children. They're worried about all those illegal aliens, but they're not worried about all the homeless children sleeping in cars. We go to school hungry, have no access to the internet. They're not even living like children. And what do we do about it? Nothing. The problems get worse and worse. And this is called progression. It's not. So they're trying their best to start a war, not a world war, a civil war in Southern California. If they could get a world war, that'd be even better. But the civil war is what they're trying to do in the United States. It's not going to happen. They're on their last legs. If you do your research about George Soros and George Gascon, who's the district attorney in Los Angeles, he was in San Francisco before he went down there. And San Francisco is a dirty shithole, just like Los Angeles is. Some of the streets are apocalyptic when you go through them. The homeless people in San Francisco are not your actual real homeless people. They're just drug addicts who live on the streets, who choose to do what they do because they've been sucked into the matrix. And that's what the matrix wants, aka the government, the lizards, the Satanists, the Luciferians, whatever you want to call them. Keep stating this over and over. Donald Trump is not a politician. They all hate him. He was one of them until 2015, that party. The only difference was is he turned Republican. Still the same person, so what happened? He's a system breaker, and they don't like it. They're going to roll out a couple of pandemics. I'm sure that's coming. Fear. Everybody buys the fear. Don't let them do it. Once they realize that they can't win, and we realize that we are the winners, it's just a matter of us taking our power back. Our God power. Our inner God. God's right here in your pineal gland. Calcified by fluoride, processed food, and all the negativity. But it's going to be changed. So the shit show in Southern California is just all part of the end of the matrix. Over and over I state, we as human beings have to see the disaster before we believe it. So here you go. Gavin Newsom should resign as the governor of California. He's a disgrace. He's worried about illegal aliens, but he wasn't worried about anybody in Paradise or Southern California whose homes burnt down. It was more important for him to start a podcast and sue Donald Trump instead of doing his job. The government hates us. They bail out nobody. $700 they send everybody in natural disasters. But as soon as a bank blows billions and trillions of dollars, what does the government do? They bail them out. But they don't bail you and me out. They charge us for the bank bailouts. 37 trillion in debt and growing. And everybody thinks this is normal, or we wanted to go back to our normal lives. Every day, I'm getting off base again, athletes are dropping dead, world-class athletes on pitches. Because when their blood pressure gets up, their blood can't flow because of the vaccine, called myocarditis or pyocarditis, it's blood clots. World-class athletes don't drop dead. But anyway, don't pay attention to what's going on in Southern California, because all they're trying to do is lower your frequency. No civil war is going to happen, because who's fighting the civil war? All the George Soros retards that are paid to stand out in those streets and do what they do. I don't like the police, but I'm not going to go out and throw bricks at them for no reason, especially for somebody who's breaking the law by being in the country illegally. They're illegal immigrants. And I can say that because I have a green card. My family did it the right way. You can't say that they don't let people into this country because the population in the United States has probably doubled in the last 75 years. There's proper channels. I understand people want to come here, but the system has to be prepped for what they know is coming. Not where the President of the United States just opens up the borders and tells everybody to come in. And we'll pay for it. So why don't all these liberals open up their doors and put signs in their front yards that say, come on in, I'll pay for everything, take what you want. Because that's basically what Joe Biden did. He opened up the front door and just said, come on in, take whatever you want, I'll pay for it. We'll pay for it. He won't pay for it. We live in a matrix, but the shit show's coming to an end. The deep state, the reptiles, the lizards, they're done. They got all the white liberal retards throwing bricks at cops. They're on their last leg. That's how feeble they are. It's not going to work. Namaste. God wins.